Did you know that in an average day, you're likely subjected to at least 3 subtle manipulation attempts, often by people you trust, without even realizing it? These aren't grand schemes, but quiet nudges in everyday conversations, designed to steer your thoughts, your decisions, and even your sense of reality. As a retired private detective, I've spent decades peeling back the layers of human behavior, understanding what makes people tick, and more importantly, what makes them susceptible. Today I'm going to lay bare 8 of the most insidious conversational manipulation tricks. We'll expose them, understand how they work, and most importantly, I'll arm you with the defenses you need to ensure you're never caught off guard again. Because the truth, my friends, is that knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. The first trick in the book, a classic, is the foot in the door trap. This is where someone starts with a small, seemingly innocuous request. Something so minor you'd feel silly saying no. Then, once you've agreed to that little thing, they hit you with the real ask, a much larger request. Think of my old client, Margaret. She told me about her neighbor, a sweet old lady, who first asked if Margaret could water her plants while she was away for a weekend. Of course, Margaret said, "It's just a couple of days." Next thing she knew, the neighbor was asking her to pick up her mail, feed her cat, and drive her to the airport for a 2-week trip, all because Margaret had already said yes to the plants. It's a subtle psychological lever. Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something big, simply because you'd already said yes to something small, feeling a strange sense of obligation? The science behind it is fascinating. It's about the human need for consistency. Once we commit to a small action, our brains want to maintain that consistent self-image, making us more likely to agree to larger, related requests. Your defense? Learn to recognize the initial small request as a potential setup. It's okay to say no, or to ask, "What else might this entail?" before you even open the door. Next up, a truly insidious one, conversational gaslighting. This is where someone subtly, or not so subtly, lets you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. They might deny something they clearly said, or twist your words, leaving you feeling confused, disoriented, and questioning your own reality. I recall a case where a man was convinced he was losing his mind because his partner constantly told him that never happened, or you're imagining things, about events they both experienced. He started keeping detailed notes, only to find his memory was perfectly intact. It was the manipulation at play. Does your memory ever feel fuzzy? Or do you second-guess yourself after certain conversations with particular individuals? Gaslighting preys on your trust and your need for clarity. Scientifically, it erodes your cognitive confidence, making you more reliant on the manipulator's version of events. To protect yourself, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Keep your own mental notes, and if possible, jot down key details immediately after a conversation. Validate your reality with a trusted third party if you can. Then we have false rapport mirroring. This is a technique often used by salespeople, but it's just as prevalent in personal interactions. The manipulator will subtly mimic your body language, your speech patterns, or even your opinions to create an instant, artificial sense of connection and trust. They want you to feel like they get you. We're 2 peas in a pod. I once observed a con artist who would adjust his posture, match his breathing, and even use the same obscure phrases as his target, all within minutes of meeting them. The target felt an immediate, inexplicable bond, completely unaware they were being subtly mirrored. Do you ever instantly trust someone who seems just like you? Almost too much. So, this isn't genuine connection, it's a calculated tactic. Our brains are wired to feel comfortable with familiarity, and mirroring exploits this subconscious bias. Your defense is simple. Be aware. If someone seems to be agreeing with everything you say, or their movements are uncannily similar to yours, take a step back. Ask yourself if the connection feels authentic, or if it's just a little too perfect. Genuine rapport builds over time, not in an instant. Following that, prepare for the guilt injection. This is a classic emotional manipulation tactic where someone uses your sense of obligation, your empathy, or your past actions against you to get what they want. They'll drop lines like, "After all I've done for you, or I'm so disappointed you won't help me, especially after. It's designed to make you feel bad for setting boundaries or for not complying with their wishes. I had a case involving a family dispute where one sibling constantly used their past sacrifices to guilt the others into financial concessions. Every no was met with the reminder of some long-forgotten favor. Do you often find yourself doing things out of a sense of obligation or guilt, rather than genuine desire? This tactic exploits our natural human empathy and our desire to be seen as good, helpful people. The scientific principle at play is emotional leverage. They're pulling on your heartstrings to bypass your rational thought. To counter this, separate the request from the emotional baggage. Acknowledge their past actions if you wish, but firmly state your current capacity and boundaries. I appreciate what you did, but I'm unable to do that right now. Your feelings are your own. Don't let them be weaponized against you. Let's move on to social proof. Pressure. This is a particularly cunning trick where the manipulator implies that everyone else is doing something, believing something, or agreeing to something, thereby pressuring you to conform. You'll hear phrases like, "Everyone knows that," or "All the smart people are doing this." It's designed to make you feel like an outsider, or perhaps even foolish, if you don't go along with the perceived majority. I remember a case involving a community fundraiser where the organizer kept saying, "Every single person on this block has already pledged at least $100, even though it was a complete fabrication. People, feeling the weight of implied social expectation, started pledging more than they intended. Have you ever felt compelled to agree with a group, even if you privately disagreed, just to avoid standing out? This tactic taps into our deep-seated human need for belonging and our fear of social isolation. Psychologically, it leverages the bandwagon effect, making us believe that if many people are doing it, it must be right. Your defense against this is critical thinking. Ask yourself, is this truly what everyone is doing, or is this just what this person wants me to believe? Don't be afraid to question the consensus. And remember that independent thought is a strength, not a weakness. Your decisions should be based on your own values and research, not on the imagined actions of others. Up next is scarcity urgency. This is a classic sales tactic, but it's rampant in personal manipulation too. The manipulator creates a false sense of time pressure or limited availability to force a quick decision from you, bypassing your rational thought process. They'll say things like, "You have to decide now," or "The opportunity will be gone forever," or "This is the last one." It's designed to make you panic and commit before you've had a chance to think it through. Think of my client, Mr. Henderson, who was pressured by a distant relative to invest in a once-in-a-lifetime business venture that needed a decision by tomorrow morning, or the spot would go to someone else. He felt rushed, didn't do his due diligence, and lost a significant sum. Have you ever felt a sudden, inexplicable rush to make a decision, only to regret it later? This manipulation exploits our fear of missing out, known as FOMO. Our brains are wired to perceive scarcity as valuable, and urgency as a sign of importance, even when it's manufactured. Your defense here is simple but powerful. Resist the pressure. If someone is rushing you, it's a red flag. Always give yourself time to think, to research, and to consult with trusted advisors. A genuine opportunity will still be there after careful consideration. A manipulative one won't stand up to scrutiny. "I need time to think about this" is a perfectly valid response. Now, let's talk about love bombing conversations. This is a particularly deceptive form of manipulation where someone overwhelms you with excessive compliments, praise, and affection early in an interaction or relationship. It feels wonderful, almost intoxicating, but it's a calculated move to gain your trust and loyalty quickly, making you more susceptible to their influence later on. I once consulted on a case where a young woman was showered with gifts, constant praise, and declarations of undying admiration by a new acquaintance. She felt like she'd found her soulmate, only to discover later that this person was systematically isolating her from her friends and family and controlling her finances. Has someone ever seemed too good to be true, lavishing you with attention and flattery right from the start? This tactic exploits our natural desire for validation and connection. Psychologically, it creates a powerful emotional bond that can blind you to their true intentions. Your defense is to maintain a healthy skepticism. Genuine affection and trust build gradually over time, through shared experiences and consistent behavior, not through an immediate deluge of compliments. Pay attention to actions, not just words. If the praise feels disproportionate or comes too soon, it's time to put up your guard and observe their behavior for consistency and respect, especially when you set boundaries. Finally, we have the redirect technique. This is a subtle but effective way for manipulators to avoid accountability or to shift blame. When you confront them with a difficult question, a past statement, or an uncomfortable truth, they'll abruptly change the subject, ask you a question in return, or even turn the accusation back on you. It's a conversational sleight of hand designed to derail the discussion. I recall a suspect I was interrogating who, every time I pressed him on a key detail, would suddenly ask about my weekend plans or bring up a completely unrelated news story. He was trying to throw me off balance, to make me forget the original point. Have you ever tried to get a straight answer from someone, only for the conversation to veer wildly off course? This tactic leverages our tendency to follow conversational cues and our discomfort with awkward silences. It's a form of deflection, designed to protect the manipulator from scrutiny. Your defense is to gently, but firmly, bring the conversation back to the original point. That's an interesting point, but I'd like to return to what we were discussing about original topic. Don't let them control the narrative by changing the subject. Stay focused and insist on clarity. Which of these manipulation tricks shocked you most? Comment below and subscribe for more psychology protection.